I can hear you out there. There's a large group of you saying, what in the world is that? And then there's a maybe not quite so big a group that are going, I know exactly what that is. But then you're probably still thinking, what in the world is he doing there working on the car with that? If you didn't know, if you're one of the one wondering what it is, this is not just a sling. See if I can get it in the picture here. Not just a sling, this is a super sling. It has armbands, of course, and then, see if I can tilt you down a little bit. It has a waistband, and you're velcroed into the sleeve on this thing. What it means is that my arm is not supposed to be moving. It means that I had rotator cuff surgery. I'm just a little over a week out. The problem with it is I cannot sit still. I can't just sit in the house and watch reruns of something on TV. So I'm out here in the garage trying to do whatever I can on the car. Everything is about 4 times as long because you either can't do it or you have to do it with one hand. Filming, sometimes you kind of have to do it with one hand anyway, but sometimes you can set up a camera and still do it in the shot with 2 hands, but I don't have that luxury. We're doing a couple things on the engine that will actually work together. We're going to be doing the oiling system and the torque converter bolts. So I have a tool that we can spin up just the oil pump, get oil to all of the galleys and all the rocker arms and everything in the engine. It does have assembly lube when it was put together, but we want to get oil to everywhere as much as we can. In the process of doing that, you have to turn the engine over part of a rotation to get it to the right position so that then the oil gets through all the different galleys in the engine. While we're doing that, we're going to take the time to turn it just enough to get another torque converter bolt in, and then another torque converter bolt in, and then eventually we'll have to spin it back to set it up for top dead center and put the distributor in. But once we do that, then we should have both of those systems ready to go. Got some Royal Purple oil. I don't necessarily think that it's the greatest that there ever was, but it has lots of the additives that you need for older V8 engines, and it was actually not that expensive for the break-in oil, so I just went ahead and got it. Nothing there yet, but we didn't expect there to be. Usually it's only about the last quart that last quart or so that shows on the dipstick. I don't know if you can see this, probably not really, but we've got oil almost up to the full line, which I don't know if I believe that that's correct. Of course, we have probably about a quart or so that's going to be going into the fuel filter. We have about a quart or so that's going to be going into the oil filter itself when we spin it up. Yeah, so we're 4 quarts. It should be about right. It'll probably be, according to this anyway, it'll probably be just a little bit high with the 5th quart in it. And spin it up. Nope. 5 quarts is just about up to the. Well, according to this dipstick, it is just a little bit over full with 5 quarts in it. Nothing new if you've seen them before. This is goes down in where the distributor goes. This engages with the oil pump itself, and then you run it with a drill on the top. Let's spin it up and see if we have any oil pressure. Been running for probably a couple minutes now, and I was getting a little bit discouraged. But if you look over here on this head over here, this is not where I poured the oil in. So we're getting a little reservoir, a little puddle of it down at the bottom there. You can see some of it coming from right in between those rockers there. You can also see more down here as it comes around the valves from the rocker arms and down into the head there. So we'll probably keep going for another minute or two here till we know we've got most every galley full for right now, and then we'll turn it to get the next bolt and go on from there. Nice big old wrench on the dampener bolt. That's actually because the bolt that we bought to put on that is a nice big bolt, but it makes it really good to turn the engine. Most of them that come on those are small enough I wouldn't really try it too much, but as you see, our timing marks are lined up there. That came from the builder that way, basically. That's at top dead center. If you look down those row of valves there, you'll see some of them are down, but the number 1 cylinder is all the way up. That means we're right at the division between the compression stroke and what would be the power stroke if it were running. So we're going to get down there and hook up one of the torque converter bolts, and then we'll see about turning this about a third of the way of a full circle, and then we'll put another one on, and then about a third of the way of full circle, put another one on, and then we're actually going to back it up so we can drop the distributor back in and torque the bolts as we go. If you just saw what I was doing there, I moved the flywheel or the flex plate just a little bit. That was to get this bolt hole down here. See if you can see that there. This bolt hole right here. That's what will bolt up against the torque converter. But you see this pad over here? Get my hand out of the way. See this pad over here? That needs to be lined up with that now that I've turned it down to have it accessible. So if we move it down and out against the flywheel, hopefully. I originally test fitted this, and I remember that these bolts were a little bit finicky to get started. And I think part of that was because the kind of had to manhandle the torque converter up in there. What I did just there, I actually got one started. The problem that I have is if I put one in and I clamp it down really hard with the thread locker on the bolt, and then the other ones don't line up, then I've got to come back and break this one loose. So all I'm going to do is just kind of snug it up. We'll turn it over to the next one, and we'll come back through again, and while they're held in place by the other ones, we'll undo it, put some Loctite on it, and then put it back down at probably about 40 to 45 pounds. A little bit of playing there, but you don't think I'd forget this, do you? All right, you can see the line. You can see the line on the balancer here, the harmonic balancer. Down here, it's at about not quite 3 o'clock, and that should have aligned it with the torque converter there. That bolt got in accessible position. So if we go 30 degrees from there, or not 30 degrees, excuse me, a third of a way around from there. Sorry about this. It's about all the closer I can get with one hand and the camera being up here where the only place I can hold it. All right, let's go down and take a look. This is not a tab that you bolt to. This is one here. There's nothing here on the torque converter. Up here, you can see another tab, another block on the torque converter, so that's where the next bolt will go. I need to come down a little ways further than I actually was. I underestimated what a third of a turn would be. I guess that's 120 degrees, but I severely underestimated what that would be. So let's see if we can get it down a little bit further. All right, let's take it again. All right, let's take it again. It's a little bit better. I actually think up on the other side was better than this though, because a little bit tough to get started here. I had to loosen the other bolt quite a ways till it was basically slack. Still threaded in, but wasn't holding any tension on the torque converter. You can see how it moves a little bit there. That's the way I kind of had to leave it so that I can line up the other bolts. All right, let's move it again. Probably won't be the last time we do this. Each time we're getting it up to about 70 pounds of pressure, and I think could go higher. I think we're just limited to a little bit to the oomph of the drill. All right, let's get down to the last bolt hole. That should be about right. Hopefully this one goes in without much problem. There we are. All right, not much slop in there. Here's a supply distributor from the Pro Flo 4 system. There's a few things we need to take care of. Need some seals on here, which the seals go right in these little grooves right here. And then of course there's a seal for the top of it here. This is where, I've got it upside down, but this is where it would go into the engine block. There's that seal. Hopefully I can get this on there. Probably gonna have to do this off camera. Finally, when we do get the distributor down into place, bought a brand new clamp to hold it there.